G'day dads, welcome to Cooking with Cameron, coming to you on the Fathering channel. Time to apron up, time to get in the kitchen. Let's have a go at making some tomato sauce. Well, g'day dads, great that you could join us today. Now, tomato sauce, dog's eye. Good old Aussie slang, isn't it? Yeah, meat pie and sauce. But we always seem to just buy it from the shops, don't we? You ever had a go at making it? Since being in Tassie, obviously, yeah, you've seen me so many times now, I've really got into making my own stuff. And tomatoes, I buy these tomatoes, they only come in season February, end of January, February, and maybe into March. And it's a case of I just buy field tomatoes. And like these tomatoes are just divine. All different shapes, smell amazing, taste amazing. They're not commercial, they're straight out of the paddocks. And the smell in these things is amazing. I've already said that. So what are we going to do with them? Well, I want to show you my idiot-proof base sauce. Now, when I say it's a base sauce, I don't normally make this one, but this is what I start with. So normally, I've got a pot, and I'm going to put one, maybe 2 onions if I've got 2 onions. I went to the cupboard, I only had one. Handful of garlic, mixed herbs, a little bit of smoked paprika, that's one of my options. So you can put that aside if you don't want it. You need some apple cider vinegar. I've got a bit over a cup of brown sugar in there. But the rest of it, I'm going to let the tomatoes talk for themselves because there's so much flavour in here. And the reality is, all we're going to do, dice this up, throw it in the pot, bring it to the boil, or make it simmer, wait 2 or 3 hours, come back, throw it in the blender, and that's it. Sieve it, run it through a sieve. Now if it's still a bit thick, a bit thin, cook it down for a little bit longer. If you want to make a paste, I lay it out on a baking trays, and I stick it in the oven, and I leave the oven door open a little bit, and I let it dehydrate. And we make a really, really nice tomato paste. Then I put it in bottles, seal them, and we're away. Yeah, sometimes I'll try and make a bit more barbecue sauce, so Worcestershire sauce. I might use some different vinegars, just to add different flavours. Put a little bit of fennel in here as well. Now that's just going to add a different flavour, so that's going to go into this one as well today. So, what are my measures? However many tomatoes fit into here. It's that simple. The other one I do is the other week I made one and I roasted some pumpkin and I blended that in with it. That gave a real creamy flavour. I'm going to crank up. I've got half a big pumpkin. I've got some sweet potato, and I might fire up the smoker, and I'm going to put those into what becomes more of a veggie paste. So you can also throw capsicum. The veggie deliveries hasn't come today. Could throw some capsicum in there as well. That adds a really nice flavour. Anyway, dads, let's get into it. As I say, it's pretty simple. We've just got to start chopping up tomatoes. Well, that's about enough, dads. So, as you can see, pretty much full. A bit over 4 kilos I'm going to hazard a guess in there, because I know I had 10 kilos in this box. I've got a bit more than half left. So we've got 4 kilos. Now I've got about a cup of brown sugar there. Have to buy some more before I do my next lot of cooking. Going to put in about 500 ml of cider. So we've got the apple cider vinegar. It's going to work with the offset the sugars. Now this is where now for the spicing, the flavouring. It all comes down to taste. So 2 tablespoons. Probably only 1 of the smoked paprika. Now fennel's a really strong flavour, so if you're going to use fennel, so just, and you're not, it's a bit aniseedy. I'm not a huge aniseedy fan, but fennel in here tastes good. But in essence, maybe a teaspoon, if not less. Now it's just time to bung it on the burner. I don't want that. I'm going to bring that to the boil. Bring it back to the simmer. As I said, I'm going to bring that to the boil. Let it, then take it back to the simmer. I'm going to leave it for 3 hours. And by then it'll collapse, and then we'll come back and see what's happening. Well, Dad's been about 3 hours. Keen eyes might notice I'm in a different pot. Found out, realised a big pot doesn't work on the induction cooktop. So I had to get that one out. But what I did, I cooked it down for a little bit in this on the normal stove. Now I just finished it off on the induction cooktop. The joys of it all. Anyway, Dads, we're going to use that for boiling our pots. Glasses anyway later. So, oh, it smells amazing. So let's take that off the heat. Get the induction out of the way. Now, this part we're gonna blitz this down. And this is where some recipes they'll tell you to peel the tomatoes first. Now, this, as I say, this is the idiot proof one, the lazy man's one. I've still got all the skins in there. And yeah, there must be something good in the skin, so that's about half. You don't want to overfill the blender. Now let's go hit liquefy and do that through. Right here, Dads, that was for 2 minutes. The machine does it automatically for me. Got a sieve there. Now what I'm going to do with that is turn that on, but it's going to sieve out all the big bits. Right here, Dads, that was about 4 rotations, maybe 5. Now I'm thinking it's a bit thin, and so I want to cook it down a little bit more. But by running it through the food processor, what I'm being left with in here is just the seeds and a little bit of the fibre from the tomatoes. And now, so now I'm going to re-sieve it. So I've sieved everything once, and I'm just going to run it back through the sieve. I always find it interesting. Get that little bit left over. Still get a little bit from that second sieve. So, it's not too bad. but I'd like it just a little bit thicker. Pretty good base sauce. As I say, dads, if you want more flavour, various flavours, it's a little bit cidery, that one. But by putting more flavours in, by putting your more paprika, more herbs in, more garlic, Worcestershire sauce, all those sorts of things, you can get a really, really nice flavour. Play around with them. You might like one mix, you might not like it, but that's what it all comes down to. So I'm going to throw this back onto the burner. Probably going to just bring it back to the simmer, and I'm going to reduce it just a little bit more. So let's get into it and I'll talk to you shortly. Well, dads, that's cooked down just enough. Enough for me to be happy. So, now the fun part of bottling it all up. So I collected these cider jars or other sauce jars. Now I'm only going to fill it just below there. That well. That's just about all the jars full. So now I'm going to lid these. I just used that bowl just in case I made a mess. So now what we've got to do is to basically sterilise them. And all we're going to do is pour boiling water into here, and then we're going to bring it to the boil. And boil it for about 15 minutes. And that's going to superheat the air in here, make it all sterile. Now I've doing it this way. I've had it 12 months, no mold in there. And these are the lids that are the poppy lids. So when they'll pressurise up, and then as it cools, that lid will seal down, and it will, and they'll seal up and save. So let's get this. Oh, I can't do it on this thing. Got to do it over on the other stove because this doesn't work on here. So I'm going to go throw it on the other stove, dads. That's pretty much done. 15 minutes, boiling away, there's our sauces made. So I'm going to leave the video there. You don't need to see these boiling. And over to you. Have a go at making your own sauces. As you can see, it's pretty simple. Bunch of tomatoes, some onion. Maybe I really should have had some capsicum in there in that base sauce. Some herbs and spices for your flavourings, your taste. So dads, get into the kitchen, have a crack, make your own sauces and impress the family. Anyway dads, till next time, keep being great dads.